Can somebody please fire John Lynch? He's about to create a quarterback controversy in the locker room. He's going to get everybody fired, get him out. I'm starting to feel that way, but again, I don't have all the facts. This is something Jed needs to figure out, because if they bring back Jimmy for another year, I think it's going to be a bad, toxic situation. Kind of feel like George on this one. Feel you, George. Vicious being neutral, no. I appreciate it. He's waiting for more evidence. I get that. I totally get that.
No. That part of it, no. Grant. That part of it, I'm 100% here for. He cannot be on this team in OTAs.
No.
They have to go through this offseason with Trey Lance as the guy, right? And I was, talking to a player on the 49ers about Trey Lance, and I was asking him what he thinks about him and all of that. And he said you won't be able to tell anything until he gets to go through the offseason of getting all the reps and seeing what he is going to be as a starter.
That's a fair answer. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no. And so when I hear that, I think
we'll give him the offseason then. Give him the offseason then.
Ricardo, so then I say Jimmy Garoppolo can't be on the team then.
Murphy says if the Niners thought Trey was the man, they'd be going all in. They wouldn't care what they got for Jimmy, and salary cap would matter. Holding out on Jimmy only makes sense if you don't believe in Trey. I don't know. That assumes that the Niners make these football decisions based on football reasons. I think the Niners are run by two financial analysts who make a lot of financial decisions and are cool with being a top 6 team in the league, as long as they can continue to plan for the future. That's the way I read the Niners. I'm sorry. The fact that they won't go all in despite being this close is like, oh, right, they're making business decisions. And the right ones.
And, I would love for that question to actually be asked, because going all in, the Niners could feel like they're going all in right now. I would love John Lynch's next presser, instead of somebody asking him about, a knee scrape he might have had in 4th grade from falling off a bike. If somebody would ask him, hey, you guys were few plays away from the Super Bowl last year. You were a few plays away from winning the Super Bowl in 2019. What did you guys feel like you needed to do this offseason to put you over the top, and allow him to explain, hey, this was our thought process. This is why we
John Lynch will be like, that's a good question. That's a fair question. Let me try to answer it.
And he would give you a fair answer.
Yes, he would.
I think we do deserve to hear that answer before we assume they're not going all in and all of that. Unfortunately, that question, unless you ask it, Grant, please do, will not be asked. Instead, we'll hear one question about Mike McGlinchey's progress, and then we'll be asking questions about, hey, John, in 4th grade, I noticed you scraped your knee and you have a little scar on your knee from there. Can you talk about that and stuff like that? So,
John will have his pre-draft press conference in about a month. We'll find out. We'll see if Jimmy Garoppolo's on the team by then. Irfan says you guys have got to have a roundtable with 89ers and DL. It would be funny to have 49ers on here if he would show his face. I don't think he would show his face though. I don't think he would.
No.
He would never.
No, because everybody's already created him as this giant Twitter personality. If he shows his face or shows anything that is not like Jimmy's brother,
when he's probably like just some guy.
Yeah.
Gold-blooded says Panthers don't have anything till the 6th. Lynch won't take that. Hawks won't give us crap. Can only cut Jimmy. Yeah. Screwed the pooch on that one. NFL offseason for beginners, author John Lynch. I guess he's just going to wait for the landscape to change. Is there any realistic repercussions for Lynch and crew for flopping the Jimmy G trade?
I mean, there hasn't. I mean, look, they've done a lot of really good things, right? They have. The quarterback situation has just been something that they've been unable to handle since 2017. And I was on Twitter Spaces with Rob Guerrera this morning, and Rob was as passionate as ever, maybe even more passionate than you and I about this, Grant. And he did say one thing that I think is the fairest assessment of all of this.
I got Rob coming on today at 4:30, by the way. I got Rob coming
perfect. Well, he's going to say it himself. I mean, stats is the best, but he said all this is moot as long as Trey Lance, if Trey Lance lives up to par. So we can talk about repercussions and all of that, but then if Lance becomes a star, Shanahan's the biggest genius ever for drafting him. Lynch is the guy who saw him. Maybe there's a story that Lynch was telling them since last September that, look, Trey Lance is this God quarterback. All these interesting stories that come out when a team actually finds someone that's good, like the stuff with Buffalo on how they scouted Josh Allen. Same with Kansas City on how they scouted Patrick Mahomes. Maybe we'll get something like that. So we do have to see the Trey Lance element of this. Although, would it be unideal if Lance is maybe not given the fullest opportunity or, to do that? I do think that's aspect of it that we do have to talk about. It might not be, what ends up happening, but it has to be a discussion at least.
Rep the Bay wants to know, what if the Niners added Kiara Mia to the deal? She doesn't work for the 49ers, so they can't trade her, unfortunately. But I see what you mean. If Lynch relieved of duties, is Lynch relieved of his duties after this year, M. Niner? Well, I think what he's going to say is like, look, I'm not done yet. I can still trade Jimmy Garoppolo. I have 2 second-round picks. Someone's going to offer me. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's there. Like, he's not. I don't know. I just feel like Jed York should have a meeting with John Lynch tomorrow at 7 a.m. John, we got to talk. What the fuck would be my first question if I were John Lynch? I would just stay there. If I were Jed York, that's the only question. What the fuck?
They had to have talked through this scenario, right? They had to have talked through 2 weeks ago the exact way that you and I did and a bunch of other people did, that, hey, this could be a situation and they have to be prepared for it. I will give them the benefit of the doubt by waiting and seeing what their pivot is. If their pivot is just keeping Garoppolo as long as possible and holding out hope that someone gets hurt or something else happens, and then they have Garoppolo to trade, I will eviscerate.
That's a hope. That's not a plan. That's a hope. Nathan says, what a joke by Lynch and Banana Hands Jimmy 2 picks. Burns the team again. Shake my head. Might as well release him, because if he's back, there goes the locker room. Well, I feel like if they release him, you're really opening yourself up to criticism and potentially getting fired. So that's probably not going to happen. Wow, this season is going to be, I don't know. They could trade him. I don't know. I guess they could trade. Nope, they're screwed. There's no trade destination. Going to bring him back. Niner Nation says Chad Pennington's shoulder surgery got cut. They about the same. History repeats itself. Cut PSJ, play the kid. Got to cut him. If they bring him, it can't be on the team when minicamp starts. You can keep trying to trade him, whatever. Wait for a hope and a prayer, but you got to cut him eventually. This is what the Niners get for giving Jimmy G a no-trade clause after 5 freaking games in 2017.
Yeah, see, you're talking about the 5 games and the extension. I got people talking about, hey, the Niners could still clear cap room, just extend Samson Ebukam. I know he only played well for 6 games last year, but they give him an extension. They extend Jimmy Ward, restructure this guy.
You an extension. Everyone gets an extension.
They could clear the same exact room again.
Yeah, it's great. Just keep the whole crew together forever. Wesley Baldwin says, I spit my drink when I seen the thumbnail.
What's the thumbnail?
Yeah, I got it online. It's like John Lynch as a poker player looking at his hand and his 2 Jimmy Garoppolo aces, thinking he's got something.
Way.
Yeah, I just found it on Google. I didn't make it. Hell no, I steal everything on Google. Thank you for whoever made that. Shout out to you.
What do you search to find that? John Lynch poker plus Jimmy Garoppolo?
I don't know. I don't know how I found it. I think I just found like Jimmy. I think I searched Jimmy Garoppolo, and in like the time I put like the last week. Someone must have made it in the last week. Anyway, Art says the Saints gave Winston a 2-year deal. He's recovering from an injury.
And there you go. Yeah, there's an angle of it. Thank you, Art, that we didn't even talk about. Jameis Winston's coming off an ACL injury.
Yeah, and he just got a 2-year deal. Yep. If you're good enough, Swan Song says Revenge Tour 3.0 is their best excuse to save face. Yeah.
Yeah, but Revenge Tour 3.0 has some holes with question marks across a little bit in their offensive line. Some question marks, at nickel, question marks at safety.
And we're going to address those after these questions. Galaxy Brain Niners have 2 top 10 NFC quarterbacks, 2 top 8 NFC quarterbacks.
I don't know if I'd say that.
Because the NFC's whack. I see what you mean. John George says, great show. You guys keep it real. Thank you. What do you think is the final date by which Jimmy Garoppolo needs to be off the roster to prevent being a hindrance to Trey Lance or off the field? Or is that damage already done? Well, here's the thing. Hold on. He's not going to be physically capable to be on the field in OTAs and training minicamp. So he shouldn't get in Trey Lance's way. It's just a distraction.
No, but they need his money to sign their draft picks.
True. No. They can extend Ebukam. They can extend Ebukam
but that's the thing, and I'll explain this because I've talked about it a little bit on Twitter. But it's a lot easier to talk about, on segment especially because when you're not concise, which I'm not known for being concise. I'm a little bit of a rambler. Then the character limit in Twitter really gets you, right? So extending and restructuring, the way it works, especially restructuring. The first thing about restructuring is it's not that you won't pay whatever amount of money. You're just paying that money at a further date. So to restructure a contract, you have to look at that player and say he's going to be a contributor to us at a later date. Hence why we can push it further down because we still think he'll be one of our best players, which is why who did the 49ers restructure? One of their best players in George Kittle, and then a guy in Eric Armstead who started 4 straight years every single game and has been quite good. a lot of times for the 49ers.
Yes.
That's why those are the two players you can restructure. Sure, there's other contracts you can touch. There's other contracts you can restructure. I've seen Trent
Even Jimmy
Williams
Ward. Even Jimmy
thrown
Ward.
out there a
That's a
lot.
30-year-old DB. That's a
Yeah,
30-year-old
and
DB.
Trent Williams is also a little bit scary because even though
Yep.
he's the best offensive lineman in the NFL, he's a future Hall of Famer, no doubt about all of that. He's 34. You want to start getting into the meat and bones of that contract because you don't know what's going to happen, with him, given his age and everything. So
Vish,
there's that aspect of it.
You'd like Jimmy off the team by 2 months from now? 2 months?
Sure.
A month, 2?
Sure, 2 months from now. I mean, the Niners, they don't need to make moves in free agency. They're already way too good. They don't want any good players.
Yeah, they filled their 2 weaknesses. What more could you ask? They're light years better than the rest of the league.
And that's me being facetious. I'm also being a little bit of a jerk about it, which is a little uncalled for. But my point is, I don't like that line of thinking because I do think there is room for improvement with every roster in the NFL. That's why, the Kansas City Chiefs went and got a Justin Reed, who is an elite level safety on the market. They went and got a Juju Smith-Schuster, not because they're not going to probably win 13 games again. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, that home field advantage, they would win 13 games without those two guys. It's because they know that, Buffalo is getting better and Cleveland just got better getting Deshaun Watson, and Cincinnati is fixing their offensive line, and Baltimore with the healthy Lamar is going to be a player again. And because of that, you need as many guys as you can to make your team better. And if you have that opportunity to get just a little bit better, you take that.
Fornelli says, is it possible to restructure Jimmy Garoppolo's cap hit contract so that his cap hit will be more?
Why would you I mean,
that would involve
yeah. And the other thing is, why would Garoppolo agree to that?
No.
Like, what's Garoppolo going to do? Hey, guys, I know you've tried to trade me for the last 3 years. You've been putting out reports about me, how you're not like 100% into me. But let me just restructure to make sure that you guys have cap room to do what you want.
Steven says, did you see the Bills GM on Pat McAfee today? They were literally laughing at the report the Niners had an offer of 2-2s for Jimmy Garoppolo.
No way. That's a tough scene.
I didn't see it.
That's a tough scene. That's a tough scene.
Neil says dead cap is 40 million. You asked that about that about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, for Matt Ryan. Thank you.
Richie says this is Don Yee's fault. He gave Jimmy Garoppolo bad advice by waiting to get surgery. Don Yee overplayed his hand, and now Jimmy has nothing and is a big joke.
I think the exact opposite. Don Yee made sure Jimmy G wouldn't get cut.
Yeah.
He did his job.
Yeah, it seems like Don Yee made sure that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get $27 million from the Niners this year unless the Niners do something that, Murphy says agree. If the Niners didn't get Lance, roster could have been much better last year, potentially win the Super Bowl. If not, then you could have traded for Watson. Drafting Trey will cost Shane and Lynch their job. Wow.
I don't see it that way because if he's really good, then they're fine. But yeah,
but if he's
they
not,
could have had a better roster
last
year. Yeah.
If not, you can say all of this. Maybe that's why the Niners are so slow playing it, because they understand, they've thought through what the ramifications are for their jobs. They really did give up a lot for Trey Lance. They gave up the bag. Nobody wants Jimmy. Too expensive, not healthy. Cut him. I like it. Grant, Matt M still thinks keeping Jimmy was a net positive. Pacific Ocean size net deficit for the next 2 seasons, though. When's Matt coming on? BT Dub, nice work pronouncing Hufunga. Respect. I've been practicing that. I gotta have Matt on. I love Matt.
How are you pronouncing it before?
Hufunga.
I've heard both, actually.
Apparently, it's Hufunga.
Just go by Huff. By Huff.
Yeah. I gotta have Matt on. He really thinks it was a net positive. Well, all right. Well, we'll see what happens because it's not over yet. The saga continues. Any truth about Browns Niners swapping quarterbacks? Oh,
no, that was a Jason Lackenfor report. I mean, obviously, I saw Florio get ripped on, but JLC did not catch as many strays as he should have.
Fernelli says, can this be in Jed's interest? Wouldn't the solution be cheaper for Jed if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't play this season for Niners instead of trading him and potentially need to contain some of his cap? I don't know. Can this be in Jed's interest?
Wait, can you explain? I can explain this one to me because I don't get it.
Wouldn't this solution be cheaper for Jed if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't play this season for the Niners instead of trading him and potentially needing to contain some of his cap? He's saying, like, from Jed's perspective, wouldn't he want Jimmy Garoppolo off the team so he doesn't have to give him $27 million? Like, why would you want to spend why would you want to give Jimmy Garoppolo $27 million?
100%. I don't think they would want to spend it. I mean, it's bad business to spend $27 million on a backup QB, right? Is it not?
It can't happen. Murphy says all these dudes thought Jimmy 2 picks was a funny nickname, not funny when the Niners need 2 picks in order to trade him. That's true, Murphy. Miguel Santana says Lynch is a joke as a GM. Solomon Thomas, Ford, Jimmy G, Reuben Foster, and Kinlaw. Lynch should be fired. Niners have lost more than what they've gained. Ooh, John, they are not happy with you, man. I'm not even – I just said that Jed should have you in for a meeting. Niner fans want you out. So you better change the narrative. You better sign another special teamer, dude. You better get the next Ray McLeod in here, stat, change the narrative. Maurice says we desperately need the national media to drag the Niners to make a decision. What's going to happen?
I don't think they care. I don't think they care. Like the national media is more worried about Matt Ryan going to the Colts and how good it makes the Colts today.
Damian says it's all a lie, Grant. There is no trade value for Jimmy G. No one wants him in his cap space. Jimmy should have been gone the second they traded to get Trey. It's all a lie, Grant. All a lie. Well, let's see. I think they could have traded him for something. I think what they're doing is overvaluing Jimmy Garoppolo, but it's possible no one wants him at all. Niners going to have the most expensive third-string quarterback, says Birdman Jr. 86. Man, that's harsh. Joe.
See, the other thing, here's what, like, I've seen people talk about it, and I know we have to have a conversation about him possibly staying, but Grant, they gave Sudfeld $2 million guaranteed.
It's like they're not anticipating having Jimmy, right?
No, right?
And yeah. All right, well, hold on. One more question, then we're going to go on to a subtopic that involves Jimmy. Joe says Lynch or Yee to blame. Maybe they declined trades with the no trade, then announced the surgery, and then ended up with no market once no trade expired. They all
well, the no trade was not in play this offseason. I don't know how many times I have to keep explaining this, but I will, as long as it's relevant. So the way it works is that all those trades that happen before the new league year only get processed at the start of the new league year. That's why even though we knew about Russell Wilson like March 8th, it only got announced a week later and official, and they had the presser and everything because of that. So Garoppolo's new no trade clause expires at the new league year. So when the trade actually does get processed, even if you agree to it on principle, it only gets processed when his no trade clause is out of it. So his no trade clause had zero effect on them wanting to trade him and all that. Maybe they wanted to do right by him, the old do right by him. Maybe they were really trying to do right by him and
right by them.
and giving him an honorary no trade clause or something. Like I don't believe that's the case. That doesn't make sense to me. But
never heard of him.